you did have one little caveat. Which
I just said they had lost to the two best teams in football. They'd beaten the three worst teams in football. So what were we going to make of them? They played now, I think, the definition of a league average team in Cleveland, and they beat the snot out of them. Yeah, you got to buy the Chargers. Right now, you can make the case for the Chargers as the third best team in the AFC. In fact, I think I would. Chiefs and Pats up top with the Chargers a strong number 3. Melvin Gordon is finally looking like the player they used the 15th pick of the draft on 4 years ago. Phillip Rivers is playing the best football of his career. Amazingly, at least statistically, he is. And they're the one team in the league that has a top 20 player in the league they're going to pick up around midseason, and that's Joey Bosa. Like, when they get Joey Bosa back, that is an injection that no other team's going to get. So, yes, I absolutely am buying the Chargers as contenders in the AFC.
The Chargers, we thought they would be contenders before the season started. They're a team that doesn't get a lot of notoriety. Going to Cleveland, 1 o'clock Eastern start for a team from the West Coast. Very impressive what they did. How this team is put together, it's strange because even without Bosa, you talk about him being a top 20 player, they still get 5 sacks. So they created some pressure through their scheme. They're very, very talented from a roster standpoint. But the injury to Bosa, when he comes back, what type of player is he with that foot injury that's plagued him since the beginning of training camp? Is he a Pro Bowl player? Is he a dominant player when he comes back? Because if he is, they're going to need that. Because, man, I like the way that they called the defense without Bosa. Now, if you put Bosa in there where he's drawing a double team, they're going to create a lot of havoc. And Phillip Rivers has always been underrated in my book. You put that with Melvin Gordon, a steady running game where they don't have to throw the ball 40 times. Michael Williams emerging on the outside in his second year from Clemson after a disappointing rookie year opposite of Keenan Allen. They have a number of targets that are very, very exciting to watch.
Tyrell Williams yesterday had an outstanding game as he was their big receiving deep threat yesterday.
I watched this game. There was a shot close to the end of Baker Mayfield sitting on the bench, and he looked, for lack of a better term, shell-shocked. Just sort of defeated and a little maybe surprised. He's not used to losing, and losing in this fashion, I'm sure, was a little surprising. What do you take away from the way Baker played yesterday?
This was Baker and the Browns' worst game of the year. The defense played their worst game
Hugh
of the year.
Jackson said as much afterwards.
Baker played his worst game of the year. Baker didn't. When he was running to the sideline early, he stepped on that first down marker on the sideline, that glossy first down marker, and he seemed to tweak something in his lower body. He didn't seem quite as mobile after that, but that's not an excuse for how he played. But I also don't think we need to, like, quote, make excuses for these rookie quarterbacks. He's going to have games like this. The Chargers are a good defense. They do have, I think, a guy that might be an all-pro safety as a rookie in Derwin James patrolling center field for them. But I don't want to call it a step backwards for Baker Mayfield. Just wasn't a step forwards for him. This was a bad game by his defense, by the offense, by the Browns as a whole.
The leader of the Browns division is Cincinnati Bengals and Baltimore Ravens at 4-2. All right, Cleveland's 2-3. So to say you're disappointed, no, they've already got 2 wins. All right, we're talking about a team that had 1 win the last 2 seasons. So you have to be careful in going up and down with this team. Baker Mayfield, I didn't take the same thing that you said about him being on the bench. To me, he's a guy who got injured during the game and had to fight through it. A lesser guy would have come out the game and their backup would have been playing. He tried to stay in there with his pride, but he got knocked around. He got hit an awful lot in this game, and they don't have a whole bunch of weapons. When you get in a game like this against the Chargers, where you need firepower, you need offensive weapons, they don't have that on the outside. So that is the reality, that they're still going to have games like this in Cleveland. We still believe they can win 6 to 8 games, and they are on track to do that right now, being 2-3-1.
This is why he's the best player on the most talented team in the league. I know Aaron Donald's on the team. I know Brandon Cooks is on the team. I understand they got Jared Goff, and Jared Goff's been excellent this year. He's their best football player. And yesterday, Jared Goff didn't play well. Yesterday, Jared Goff wasn't his sharpest. I don't know if it was the cold conditions in Denver or if it was just an off night. But whatever it was, Gurley was the reason they got out to the 20-3 lead. Gurley was a big reason as to why they were able to hold on to that lead late. He came as close as you can to winning an MVP as a running back these days without rushing for 2,000 yards last year. And he's going to have, it looks like, a similar performance this year, where it's tough at that position to win the MVP, but he has as good of a case as anybody. He's an extraordinary player and was the best player on the field all day yesterday.
A tremendous football player, but also Sean McVay and them, they do a great job of putting him in favorable situations. Why? They run the ball predominantly out of a 3-receiver set. So you can only put so many people, and they do so much motion with the speed sweeps that they have a good game plan for a great player week in and week out, and based on the weather. And the temperature was in the 20s. So for the Rams to get this type of win and Jared Goff, to me, it pays dividends mentally. Long term, can the Rams win in cold weather? That will be questions we'll ask. But now, after getting the win yesterday in Denver, where they had a huge snowfall before the game, it was not the best conditions for an L.A. team. I think this win was more mental than it was what the score was and everything. I think that the Rams will store it away long term and be able to take advantage of it.
See, the first month of the season, Rams were 4-0, but they hadn't left the state of California. They'd played home games. They had gone to Oakland. The last 2 weeks, in Seattle and in Denver, two of the toughest conditions, two of the toughest environments to play. They win both of those games, despite, in my eyes, not playing their best game. In Seattle, their defense was shaky. In Denver, their passing game was shaky. So this is a great win for the Rams, because this is a game that they can get tripped up in, where Denver, they get out to an early lead, Denver comes back. One note on the Broncos. The Broncos, once again, didn't take a quarterback at number 5, and they're probably going to regret that. But the player they took at 5, Bradley Chubb, he had a monster game yesterday. He had 3 sacks. He showed why a lot of people thought he was going to be the first defensive player taken in the draft.
Yeah, only Nick can give you a compliment and also a knife in your back.
No, it's not Bradley Chubb's fault. My point is, a lot of Bronco fans are mad they didn't take Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, I understand.
But they're okay.
Yeah, Nick, right. Yes.
Compliment sandwich, see?
Yeah.
That's all it is. Something
One
nice, the
undefeated
truth,
team
else
left
Yep.
in the
Handshake and a smack in the
NFL.
face.
And it is the LA Rams. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.